Hello! Today we're talking about how to find the level of a piano piece and ways to search for similar repertoire for classical music. I will preface this by saying that determining a level of a piece doesn't necessarily mean that you are at that level. There are a lot of different skill areas, such as your knowledge of music theory, ear training, sight reading, etc. So maybe the repertoire you play is listed at level 8, but your sight reading or ear training is level 3. Or maybe you're really good at Romantic era pieces, but Baroque and Classical need some work. There's a range of difficulty within what's listed in a level, and what may seem like the easiest looking piece might be the hardest to perform and express. Even if someone can play the correct notes and rhythms of an advanced piece, maybe their technique, musicality, and nuances aren't quite there yet for a convincing performance. There are also different priorities for each genre, whether it's classical, jazz, pop, etc. All this to say, you don't need to label or limit yourself within a grade or level number. What's more important is that you're practicing and willing to expand your knowledge, because each piece or skill you learn will help you become a better musician and performer. Okay, here are a few things I do in my research process. 1. Check to see if the piece is already in a syllabus. I'm in Canada, so I check the Royal Conservatory of Music's syllabus first, since I'm most familiar with their system. Their piano levels are Preparatory A, Prep B, levels 1 through 10, then the diploma levels of ARCT, and a newer licentiate level. Their syllabi are free to access. The most recent piano syllabus is the 2022 edition, and they also have a popular selection list. If the score I'm looking up is published by Henle Editions, they also have their own level of difficulty system from levels 1 through 9. The creator of the Henle levels of difficulty stated the following regarding assessing the levels. Quote, "I have not just looked at the number of fast or slow notes to be played or the chord sequences. Of central importance are also the complexity of the piece's composition, its rhythmic complexities, the difficulty of reading the text for the first time, and, last but not least, how easy or difficult it is to understand its musical structure. And any evaluation of art or music will always be subjective, even if the aim was to be objective." End quote. You can find more information on the Henle website. Some other exam boards are ABRSM, Conservatory Canada, and Trinity, in case you want to cross-check. Links to everything I've mentioned are in the description. 2. If the piece is not in a syllabus, but the composer is known and said composer is listed in a syllabus, compare pieces by that composer by grade until you find something similar. If the composer is not listed in a syllabus, check who their contemporaries were, and if those composers are listed, check their works. If the composer is not listed, but the era or date of composition is listed, you can compare that way too. If there is no composer, but there is a title, say Sonata in C major or Bourrée in F minor, then you can search by genre. This is where a little bit of music history is useful. 3. If there is no information at all, figure out a rough idea of the style and genre of the piece. Ask yourself questions like, are there arpeggios, chords, tricky patterns, overlapping voices? What's the structure of the piece? Are there a lot of accidentals, or is it in an awkward key? Does it modulate quite a bit? Is it atonal? Does it sound like it's from a specific era? Narrow down the search criteria, then compare it to other pieces until you find a similar match. Keep in mind that length of piece doesn't necessarily make it a higher level. All of this is done while checking and analyzing the score. I'll often sight read through or skim the sheet music and listen at the same time. I suggest a combination rather than just listening, because sometimes what sounds easy might be quite challenging to play. For access to scores, IMSLP is great for works in the public domain. Of course, check the copyright laws for your country. Some local libraries have a sheet music collection for physical books, but also e-books. If you're near a college or university with a music program, their libraries often have a collection of sheet music as well. You can also look at secondhand bookstores, because sometimes people will drop off boxes of sheet music if you're not looking to buy them new. On the Henle website, you can sort by level of difficulty, and it shows you the percentage of pieces in a specific edition at that level. For example, 61% of pieces in Bartók's Mikrokosmos Volumes 1 to 2 are level 1. Earlier I mentioned the popular selection list from RCM. In this syllabus, they list a lot of collections like jazz favorites or the best of or greatest hits compilations. So you can do a quick control find to see if there's a collection that has a lot of overlap that's in a similar style of piece you're already playing or looking to learn. In most practical exams, it's not just about the repertoire you play, but also complementary skills that help you become a more well-rounded musician. So, here are some examples of categories you can improve. Technique. Example, scales, chords, arpeggios, trills, ornamentations, embellishments. It's one thing to learn the patterns and be able to recognize it if it's called out from a predetermined list for an exam, but it's another to be able to apply them to pieces you're learning and doing so in a musical way. Sight reading. I love sight reading, and I'm working on a rather lengthy video on how to sight read and quick study, so I won't get into it here, but hopefully you'll come back and check it out once it's finished. Ear training. For example, intervals, chord quality, chord progressions, playback, clapback. All of this is great if you want to be able to play by ear, transpose, and also identify when you're making mistakes in a piece because you've accidentally reharmonized a chord. Improvisation. For example, you're playing jazz music or Baroque music with figured bass. Maybe you're playing a cadenza from a concerto, or a piece literally says improvise for the next 8 bars. Music theory can help with reading and understanding notation, identifying the structure of a piece, composition, etc. Music history can provide context and give you hints for interpretation. Whether it's the way you should phrase or use rubato depending on the era, maybe it's the dynamics, articulation, or knowing that certain composers like Schubert use diminuendo and decrescendo differently. All of these components intertwine one way or another, so by improving one thing, you might be helping yourself in other ways without realizing it. At the end of the day, though, it's about what you want to learn, how you want to progress, and what you enjoy playing. Hope this video helps. If you found this video helpful and want to support this channel, I have 2 albums currently available to buy or stream. There are also PDFs in my shop and links to other ways to support in the description. If you're curious about what books and online resources I used in music schools from beginner to doctorate, I've started a series. The first part is on music theory, history, and research. As always, thanks for watching and happy music making.